one of these teams now has to win. One of these teams has to go up in the standings. And it's going to be a bit hard to say who it will be. However, for Lucent, they've brought in Akers. They brought in Caspina. Akers, UKLC champion. If my brain is remembering things right. He's effectively the long-standing and now going to be forever the uncontested UKLC champion. And Caspina to try and buff up the lineup here. And I was talking a lot, or we heard a lot of talk, particularly from Syntax, about options moving forward for the roster, and it seems like what they landed on was shifting Castrulan out alongside Jungle as well. And we'll see how this fares now for Domino Esports on the opposite side for the final, sort of week here. And I think giving Akers red side as well, that's going to be something that's going to be very difficult potentially for Domino to play against, as Jinx gets removed away on red side, which maybe means we end up seeing an Aphelios, or actually Zeri slip through as well.
But you've got to remember, this is Bloodsteel's wild ride. So anything can really happen from this point. The Zeri, the Aphelios are both available, as you mentioned. Whether he wants to go something a little bit off the wall. Of course, there's Jungle picks up as well. It's going to be the Volley Bear locked in for Sidon. This is completely in his wheelhouse. What?
Zeri.
Yeah?
Volley Bear. You know what I'm saying? Like, on the tip.
Who wins in a fight? Just some random person or a bear?
What about if Lucent bring their own bear? If Lucent bring their own bear, and I mean, so okay, definitely, this is gonna be a pretty funny matchup now, because you've got one jungler on one side who's likely going to be looking for loads of opportunities to gank, and you've got one who can definitely just kind of sprint into lane with bear stance to try and find some stuns, but could also just outpace you in the farming department. There's the expected Zeri that should get locked in, and Lucent now have two very, very speedy champions that are going to be quite difficult to lock down. And what could be even more irritating if Zimba just goes, okay, I'm gonna play Yuumi duty here, and all of a sudden you've got a potential Udyr with a Yuumi on its back, or of course the Zeri with a Yuumi on its back is all going to be very hard to lock down. So what I want to see from Domino is hard TC now, more hard TC to try and ensure that you can lock down these carries. I think Norless would definitely be the correct way to go about it. You could look at the Aphelios, seems as it is kind of just up and there and ready to take as well, and I don't really feel like that's a poor choice of draft here for Chris.
It could be the opportunity. Other marksmen are available. Of course, we've seen a couple of games of Varus today. That is alive and available. Jhin, of course, as well. It looks like they might be going a different location. It's the Victor being blind locked in. That's quite a brave pick from Shaolin.
Yeah, no, it is. But I think for Lucent now, they have to make the decision of, do we want to get mid counter pick and have a support pool pinched, or vice versa? And, they could also just go for... and now this now gives Domino the opportunity to either ban away the counters that they don't want to have Syntax play on the Victor or against the Victor, or of course potential combinations that could go here with the Zeri. Instead, Lucent, they say Syntax champion pool's fine, we don't care about this pinch, and I think definitely a call that they'll probably be okay with. We've seen Syntax play a fairly wide array of champions, so I don't think the champion pool is going to necessarily be too threatened as the Braum comes in. Of course, is that direct counter to the Norless. Norless goes in, very easy to set up the concussive blows. Walking out becomes a very big chore. As Syndra will be taken off the table for Syntax. I'd expect probably a Sylas, unless they want to go for something a little more sort of scaling, maybe along the lines of Orianna, because Orianna could definitely fit here in this composition as sort of a utility mage that can provide a fair amount in terms of shielding, speeding up, but also the shockwaves are going to be massive here, locking down multiple members that maybe get a little bit too close to the Udyr, for example. Akshan was removed away. It seems like Rip will also get the Tryndamere taken off of his champion pool. And Syntax probably going to be okay with whatever gets banned away here in more cases than he isn't. I would probably say Sylas is maybe what's on Domino's mind the most out of any of Syntax's champion pool. Though there could definitely be other options that they are thinking about removing. Something like the Twisted Fate could also be an option if they want to take that off the table. I wouldn't particularly blame them either for that one. But it seems like they're going to move away from that and ban away Akers' very coveted Gnar, of course. For anyone familiar with Akers, you'll know he is very much synonymous with range top laners. The range technology is his thing.
Talk about the efficacy of that later. But it's going to be a Corki locked in, someone we haven't seen for a little while in the mid lane, or not to the same level that he was at the very beginning of the split. Going to be taken by Syntax. So that's the option there. Of course, another champion who does pretty well with a roaming Braum, and there's a good amount of CC. There's a good amount of damage from Lucent. They're building great fundamental front to back. If they pick Malphite, they've gone for one of those very easy to execute matchups in the big game. And I was talking to Gulborg and Initialize yesterday, and they said, we want to see more Samira. They better be tuned in, because Chris is about to put on a show.
Let's hope he does put on the style show for us. It's been a pretty long time since I've actually seen Samira, or at the very least cast it. I think the last time I cast it would have been UKLC last year. With Yoppo and Clocks perhaps in the bottom lane. They round out this draft with the Shen. It took me a while to find the champion's name there. And for Akaz, I mean, if he wants, this is a pretty decent gangplank angle. I mean, you've got 3 melee champions, a champion that also wants to get quite up in your face in the Samira. You know the matchup's going to be quite good, and you're going to very easily team fight with the rest of your team. It seems like they're going to look for a little more damage inside of the Graves, a little more lane priority up in the top side. And it should just be an auto-shoving lane. So priority in the top side, I'm pretty confident in saying the priority should be in the bottom side for Lucent as well. Mid lane, going to be a little more back and forth. I'm pretty sure Shaolin should be able to contest it, depending on how the level 1 goes. So options a little more limited, in my opinion, for Domino in the first couple of waves. But of course, there is setup there on the bottom side. I expect it's going to be fireworks. You've got Braum into Nautilus. You've got Nautilus with a Volibear. You've got an Udyr in the game. There should be a bloodbath.
It's very fascinating, because this is one of those things where I look at Lucent's draft and I say, brilliant. The front to back, that's really nice. Tons of damage going through. You've got a front line that should be able to hold up a lot of damage. The Udyr should get pretty beefy. Of course, Braum is an unbreakable wall. But you look on the other side for Domino, you think, well, you've got a Volibear and Nautilus. They're going to be able to do the same thing. If Fuyu missteps, and Fuyu's got a misstep in, and we've seen it so far this season, so many things are going to hit him hard in the face. He might just be killed by the CC.
Yeah, no, I mean, he definitely could. I think it's just more about the burst damage that follows, right? The Victor combo, even just, Samira coming in, Q, auto, presses R key. Yeah, it just feels quite bad. And Samira actually recently got buffed, if memory serves me right as well. Ultimate did have its cooldown reduced by a couple of seconds. I'm pretty sure that buff went live 8 to 5. So no longer does Samira have to wait super long. If you remember, release Samira was kind of obnoxious because she'd be able to cast whenever she hit her max stacks of passive. Then they increased the cooldown to 8, which actually was a big enough window to effectively mean if she casts ult and then stacks up her passive again, there could actually be 2 seconds or so where she couldn't recast ultimate. 5 seconds, however, is such a short period of time that typically it's just available to her as soon as she has it. Has the style point stacked back up, so it's actually got quite a lot of breathing room in terms of those early skirmishes. If it can get things going, if you can get the ball rolling, so definitely a very scary lane potentially for Lucent to play around. But I will say their draft more reactive than proactive, so I'm looking more of the Domino and saying, okay, you're a team which in the opening couple of weeks you're putting out these very hard CC compositions, right? Sejuani, Twisted Fate, Nautilus, combinations like that where teams would just get hit by one piece of CC and die in it. You have a fair amount of CC now. It's not the same level as back then. How are you going to utilize that and be proactive? Because in my eyes, Lucent can kind of just sit there, scale, and be relatively confident in their range advantage with the Corki and the general lack of engage, albeit it is very much there from Domino via the Nautilus. But how much more can they find when it's probably just him they'll have to leverage?
I mean, we're going to find out as we get on to the Rift for our third game of the day. To put this in perspective for all of you, because of the way that the results have gone today, the winner of this game will be the only team sitting at 8 and 9 going into the final game of the season for everyone involved. Lucent play light side in that final game. 2 teams chasing the playoff places. Domino play AAB, the team currently sitting at the bottom, but we've seen what they can do to teams much higher up the table than them. And of course, London United, the other chasing team, have to go over to Natives, who are currently chasing that first place seed.
And Lucent maybe have the most interesting final week of games out of all of them. Not only do they have Domino today, on Thursday they go up against Light Side. So definitely a match. Yeah, you really couldn't make it up. It's a storyline you couldn't write if you tried. So I think if you're a neutral in this, you have no stakes. I'm pretty sure the spiciest timeline is Lucent win today. Because Domino, by all rights, should be beating AAB tomorrow, albeit it's definitely not set in stone, given how AAB have been performing. Even when they lose recently, they've looked kind of scary. Could be a team that even Domino 4-2, like you said, they've beaten teams further up in the standings.
In fact, they've almost exclusively beaten teams further up in the standings.
Yeah, that's right. Monster. Obviously, they lose a lot, right? So it's one of those weird stats where it's like they only beat teams above them, while they're always at the bottom. But it's like the teams that they have beaten, it's like impressive teams. Monster, Natives, and then who is the other
London
team?
United was the first team they lost to. As we see a little bit of an engage coming through from Den as Zimba's just going to get those concussive blows stacking up. Not able to get the stun this time around. But AB have had a very fascinating. We're not going to talk about them too much because we'll give them a lot of airtime during their game today. What should be noted is the winner of this game is going to put themselves in a very comfy position moving towards the final game of the day. The loser is going to have much, much more work to do. And essentially, you're putting things very much in your own hands if you win this game. If you lose it,
Yeah, exactly.
you might need other stuff to go your way depending on how the second half of your season has gone. And for these two teams, it hasn't necessarily gone that well.
Yeah, no, I mean, if I remember correctly, I think both Domino and Lucent came in to 7 wins at 7 and 5. So both on 4 loss streaks, if my maths works out correct. I could be wrong on that. I think one of them at the very least was 7 and 5. So like you say, if ever they have to match up in terms of head-to-head, I think these two teams are going to be some of the weaker ones. Even Lightside actually had a pretty weak second half of the split. So if somebody like, you know, your London United comes up here and you end up tied with them, that's a head-to-head you're most likely going to lose in many cases. I think I'm trying to just see here who has the head-to-heads. Because Domino are 1-1. Oh no, I'll take that back. Yeah, no, Domino are 1-1 with London United. London United also...
Well, I believe we talked to our producer about how the tiebreakers are going to be decided.
Yeah.
It was more about how you played in the second half of the split as a whole.
Yeah, so I can't remember what the priority order is, but I think it's head-to-head gets resolved first. If you're 1-1, then second half of the split comes into effect. Which, yeah, as we're saying, Lucent, Domino, second half splits have not been strong. London United, however, a much better second half, which puts them in a better standing, assuming they have the head-to-heads to work with.
You know what? These teams in the second half of the split have an identical number of wins. They have both won 4 games in the second half of the split so far. So winning this will also give them...
You couldn't write it. It's so...
It's almost like it's scripted. Almost. That being said, Domino did win the reverse fixture of this. So if they win this game, they'll get the 2-0 head-to-head, which will put Lucent in a difficult spot when chasing them. But then again, you're asking whether they'd be chasing them or whether they'd be chasing other teams that were more around them. But, do you know what? Let's put that to the side. Let's put our spreadsheets to the side a little bit. Let's monitor
we spent
that.
5 minutes on that and
nothing has happened. Which, you know, Lucent will be sitting there going, cool, brilliant. That's absolutely fine in our regard. Domino, are they also fine with this being a little bit slower?
I mean, I think so, but also the issue is Lucent are far happier. So in my eyes, no. I think definitely be nice for Domino to try and find an advantage somewhere. For now, though, it's definitely not going to be through the mid lane. Sheldon forced out, no mana. Gonna have to recall, and the priority is going to give Lucent this dragon. And this is going to be a pretty monster path here for Caspina, because he's going to do this dragon, and then he's going to have a full rotation of jungle camps up towards the top side, if I've been tracking his pathing correctly. Grump Wolves, I think his chickens spawn at about 620. He's walking past it, though. Doesn't want his Grump. Why? What's wrong with Grump? Maybe he's going to take it afterwards.
He might be looking down there potentially towards a bot camp. Also, for those of you who are wondering, going into today, London United also had 4 wins in the second half of the season. Couldn't write it, but they've managed to pick them up today, so they've managed to get themselves under 5. And there you go, Gromp Are you happy now, Jamada?
I'm happy now. It's just weird that he went up, then back down. I guess. I mean, he's going to be on Skullcrab now. So it's just weird. The OCD in my brain just doesn't. It's like it just feels weird. You know, you walk past Grump to go back to Grump anyway. Why not do Grump first? That's all. That's all I'm saying. John Camp still die though. He still farms him up. Farms up that Skull as well. I think clear the way award. And we'll go to reset though. He's actually going to run into Sidon's face. Level up.
Yeah, he is, but Fuyu's there, Zimba's there, the big bear has to run from the little bear, but there's going to be engage coming through. Members of Domino are here, the damage coming down onto Fuyu. They're looking for him, but they can't get the stun from Ripped. He can't get the taunt. Shadow on the other side needs to be careful because he's 2v1. Chris might have overextended a little bit, but will be able to scarper away. As it looks like Domino will protect their bear.
And they all protect their bear. Yeah, exactly. Caspina almost baits his team into a nearly unfavorable trade. Akaz has stripped away 2 plates from this tower already, and his face, yes, up. Some of that will be recovered here by Ripped underneath this tower, but using Standing Knight away, giving Akaz a pretty sizable lead by himself. Boots, Map Sep Touch, going for more sustain. Personally, I wouldn't have even minded him picking up a Cole so late into the laning phase, if he's going to have so much freedom up there. But Lucent, they pick up that dragon, they don't lose anything. And again, game state, I think, just favors them, and it's calm like this. They've got the Corki scaling, the ranged advantage, I think, is firmly in their favor. And the lack of multiple engaged tools, I think, for Domino is going to hurt them. They're really going to have to be on point. I think specifically then, obviously, at the helm on this Nautilus is going to have to find key targets constantly with those depth charges and have them followed up on. Otherwise, they are really going to struggle to lock down. It feels like basically anybody on this Lucent lineup.
On the flip side, though, how easy is it for Lucent to actually get engages themselves?
It's not particularly easy, but I think the issue is if you can leverage the Corki poke, if you ever end up being second to the objective, I think it's not going to really matter too much. I think also the issue is if you look at like sort of lane state, map tempo, it's going to be in their favor. And when I use these terms, what I mean is more often than not, they're going to have priority. The only place where they might not have priority is in the mid lane because Victor, Shaolin has the upgraded death rate. So from time to time, you might see Victor move first, you might see Corki move second. But Fuyu and Zimba should be winning out in the 2v2 when they actually have summoners. Right now, they might yield priority a bit. But if they always have lane priority, it means they should have map priority. They should be the ones that move onto these objectives first more times than they don't. And then that's just going to feel horrible for Domino to have to walk into poke, into fog, into maybe unfavorable positions if Lucent have set it up properly. But certainly, more niche things like that, especially in Division 2, they don't mean as much all of the time. Seeing a bit of an invade go on here. And this is just the pressure bleeding over from the bottom side, from the mid lane as well. We'll have a little bit of help here, but the lockdown come in. Sidon.
Caspina will find him out, though, and will make sure that he's not able to get through for the nice dive, and it's going to recall what is dead, though, so he might be potentially thinking about something, but it's hard to go, dive onto a Braum. You don't really want to do it. Zeri can do a decent amount of damage, and it looks like it's just going to be a reset. So the slowness continues into the 10-minute mark. Of course, that Rift Herald, as mentioned, has been secured by Caspina on the Udyr, so there's a little bit of gold in pocket ready to be utilized, and Lucent just grabbing themselves small inch advantage.
Yeah, exactly. And I think now what might be an issue is if Fuyu and Zimba have a little bit of gold to spend. Could I get a check on the gold? I know it's a bit of an odd time, 10 minutes. So there's nothing really important for Fuyu to buy, which is good. Well, Syntax can base. They're actually going to reset now anyway, 20 seconds away from Dragon. But Syntax can base after this wave, pick up the package, and then teleport back in. And then they have not only the package, but the Herald to work with. And Akaz actually has a pretty good timer to reset himself, pick up the shield bow, and then have teleport advantage, albeit Ripped has Stand United. And there's grounds for Lucent to try and contest this, but this is very good from Sidon. Force Syntax as far back underneath his tower to get that reset in as possible. But this posturing says to me, Lucent, they don't care about this dragon. They will give it up. The bot side has firmly been in the control of Domino for a little while, and I don't mind this. Caspina could drop the Herald over the wall,
Right?
or just walk around instead. This is the scariest grave. He's just standing there.
Sir.
He's just
rather you
standing
were.
there menacingly.
He got ripped. He needs to be very careful about this, though, because Uda's in the neighborhood. He's just clearing out that Gromp. Isn't dropping the Rift Herald just yet, but it looks like Rip will survive. They get another wave as
Mid
bot
lane
side.
Yeah, I think this is a good call. Strip away the plates. Where's Shaolin? Shaolin was rotating down to the bottom side, so this is 3-4 plates even, if they can be quick about this. First plate, see Shaolin back up. He's gonna have to wait to come out of combat now, but then the Herald can get placed.
Battle's here as well, though, so they could look to get this one out very, very quickly. Don't know if they're going to be able to stop the charge.
4K
though.
HP.
But he gets stunned up. The volume needs to be careful. Den, the hook goes wide, but there's the depth charge on the Casapina. It's going to chase him from his fast, but he can't outrun the ultimate. It's first blood going over to Domino. The charge goes through, but they get a kill.
Yeah, a little bit greedy to get that Herald down. They do basically strip away most of the tower's HP, though, so against the Victor, even though you give over first blood, might not be too terrible if you can pick up the second Herald and you break that tower, because mid lane tier 1, it's a bastion of safety when you have Victor on your team. It provides you with so much of a stable map state where Victor can just kind of stay mid, clear the waves, and as long as you can put whoever your other strong side is on the side of the objective, you know that your mid lane tower is going to stay alive for a really long time. So stripping away that many tower plates, that much HP, I don't even mind that Caspina goes down, but Domino gonna have to use this, and we've seen Shaolin use the Victor, any kind of lead he gets, to garner massive, massive leads. Chris on the bottom side, himself speaking of massive leads, 4 tower plates picked up. I think most solo, with 25 CS lead as well, up over the 1,000 gold, and Lucent kind of just yielded quite heavily on the bottom side. They are winning out quite heavily on the top side. In fact, the gold leads are almost mirrored.
So
But,
my question
go
here
ahead.
is, would you rather have the lead on Graves or on Samira?
I'll get back to you on that. That's a tough question. I think in this game, it's a hard question. I don't know, honestly. I think my gut instinct is telling me Graves,
Okay.
but also my head is kind of saying if Samira is able to be enabled and dive on top of everybody, if she's super fed and she just bloody one-shots everybody, I think that's fine. I think that's maybe better than having the fed Graves in this instance, because I think the issue with Graves is if he has to get in range to deal any, semblance of damage, I think he kind of gets blown up on one shot here by the amount of CC he would have to get in range to do that damage for. So I think Samira having this lead is maybe going to end up being a little more impactful. I will say it also depends on how Ripped can deal with Akkas on this side lane in those integers where there aren't objectives to contest. So, I think there's arguments for both. If Akkas gets so far ahead that, the side lane's all of a sudden uncontainable for Domino and Ripped, then yeah, that becomes very problematic. But if Domino can find engages and actually enable the Samira and enable Chris to actually deal his damage, then I think, yeah, you probably prefer it on Samira. I'm leaning more towards I think it's better for Samira, though.
Okay, that's interesting. So it's a case of, because we seem to be talking a little bit about how Lucent are going to be relatively happy with everything they've done so far, and of course top lane very far ahead. They managed to get that charge in mid lane. Yes, they lost someone, but it wasn't the end of all things, and that the trades have generally been quite favorable for them. Moving forward in the game, as we will move back into the game, what are we going to look for from them for the next 5-7 minutes? Let's say before Baron comes up, what do you want to see from them?
From Lucent?
Yeah.
I think you're just kind of okay with how the top side matchup is playing. Maybe Caspina plays more into Akkas to ensure that he can maybe, I don't know, leverage this pressure up more, try and move as a 2 towards the mid lane perhaps, go for some mid lane dives, something like that. Try and keep the top lane 1v1 as isolated as possible, but also I think the issue is, if you do this, so far, Domino have been pretty damn good at abusing Zimba and Fuyu and growing this lead. As you can see, Fuyu still searching for his first item, whereas Chris has a Dirk on top of that shield bow. So he is very, very strong at this moment in time. I wouldn't really want to be skirmishing around the Samira, so I think the only reasonable option is you just play off the Graves, the pressure you can provide. Because right now it just feels like Ripped cannot contest in the 1v1 at all.
No, and he has to be able to basically get out of the lane. He hasn't got a full item just yet, and Sitting on that Bramble vest, Barmy Cinder. You know, it'll be okay eventually with the tankiness that he's going to get, as Chris will be able to take down the tower. Post 14 minutes though, so no loss. Play to Shaolin needs to be careful. Gets stunned up. Poseidon's there, and Denden's moving through as well. As the CC arrives, the rest of Lucent will dissipate. There's nothing to fight over, so there's no need to overextend. And Domino, they're just trying to give a little bit of safety to a couple of their damage dealers. Chris over the wall needs to be careful because Akkas has turned up, and Alcimera could be in a little bit of trouble. We might get an answer to the question I asked you during the break, but it's actually going to be Denden who's caught out. He's gone the wrong direction. It's Syntax picking up the first kill of the fight and the first kill of the game.
Oh.
So a decent amount of damage coming through from Chris. He's looking towards Akkas. The damage is there from Victor as well, but it's not going to be able to chase through. But Ripped gets the kill onto his lane opponent. Casamino is going to be sent running down south as the rest of Domino move forward. Lucent should be able to get a stun, but it's only onto one. It's onto the Brom, but he will get taken out. It's Shaolin with Casamino cut down two. Chris goes forward, grabs another. And I don't know about you, Jamada, but this fight, I did not expect it to go so far in the direction of Domino. Fuyu are changing forward, trying to even things out. Health bars are low. Chris goes down. Rip moves forward. He picks up one. He's skating forward, looking for a second, looking to grab onto Ripped, but won't be able to find it. The disengage looked good from Lucent in the end, but it's only Fuyu who stands.
Oh, it almost became a Zeri moment at the very end of that team fight, but fortunately for Domino, they only lose Chris. And I mean, we had this massive discussion about who do we want the gold more to be on, or whose gold is more impactful, more aptly put. And I mean, like we said, if Chris can get on top of targets, he is going to absolutely demolish them, and demolish them he did once he actually got on top of people there. Akkas, like we said, if he gets in range to actually deal his own damage through auto attacks, he is then in range to feel that return damage from Chris, from Shaolin, and just wasn't able to stand in front of the members of Domino for more than what felt like 2 or 3 auto attacks. Now, back out onto the map, packages there and available for Lucent, but the issue is there's not flashes on their carries. Domino are actually contesting this Herald on the top side. There's no flashes for anybody but Denden. So maybe they can play this out with the package. Ultimates more in favor of Domino with the Chaos Storm and with the Depth Charge available. But the package is such an impact. What are they going to do? They're just going to give it over, but they're pushing for the mid lane, so they should trade this out. Big win against the Victor, but the Herald is going to be there in trade eventually, but they're looking for an engage. They want a depth charge.
The damage charge, they're actually going to go towards the Brom. He puts up the shield, but Member's coming on through. He can't run away from the CC as the damage is there. They get the tower, they lose Brom in the backside. Ripped has got himself onto Fuyu and is looking to chase him down. He's diving over the wall, but members of Domino are there to play cut off. They've got themselves a little movement speed, and it'll be enough to see Fuyu out for now, but Ripped is still chasing. He wants to take Zeri down, and he will be able to do so. It's a solo kill for Ripped in the end, as Domino grab another.
Yeah, they grab 2 kills. Lucent get the mid lane tower, but they also lose the Herald. Sidon, we'll see where he gets to use it. He's actually plopped it down in the mid lane. We'll see if they can actually do much about this. In fact, Lucent might, with a little bit of luck, no, I was going to say maybe execute it, but Domino, they're able to stand their ground. They will lose half that health on that tower in the mid lane. So you're looking at a tower trade for 2 kills. Herald gets this chunk out, but it's not executing the tower, so I don't know how much I like that Herald usage, to be honest. In fact, I don't think I like it at all. I think, wait, you got 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes still left. A little bit rushed. Maybe Domino felt like they had the numbers in the mid lane. Hard to say. Right now, Lucent falling behind in kills, only down about 1.5k. I think they're okay. They're comfortable for now, but the issue is it's the IM completions that are going to start coming in on the opposite side. Mythics fully in now for Domino across the board, but Chris also has a collector already in his inventory, and that's going to mean he gets on top of Syntax or Fuyu. He is going to shred them. That extra lethality is going to go the distance when there's no armor available on either of those champions just yet. 3k between the AD carries at the moment. 1,000 gold between the mid laners, give or take. Top lane is where the lead is at for Akkas, but how much impact is he going to have if Domino are just consistently forcing on the map in these groups and actually able to pick objectives up super fast before Lucent can really do much to hold?
I'm just trying to get some vision cleared out around the Baron pit. It's not going to be up for another minute, but they just want to grab as much as they can on their way out. Picking up that mid tower as well opens things up, and the gold going on to Chris once again, because what's a little bit more gold between friends, eh? Give as much to Samira as you can. He needs it for the taunt, you know. So load up the ammunition before flinging it at his opposition.
I always forget that. I don't think it actually costs gold anymore. It used to, I think, on...
Back in the day.
Yeah, I think they just made it a regular taunt. But it did used to cost 1 gold, which is pretty funny. I think just a neat gimmick. It did also deal 1 true damage.
And it's
Yeah.
a proctor passive. Buddy.
It did also proc passive.
Imagine doing a massive
Honestly,
combo,
it's
dropping in the middle of a team fight and throwing a coin at them before you ult.
I love how much of a homage this champion is to the Devil May Cry series. Just because of that part alone. The style point system, yeah, you know, kind of copy paste. But the fact that they allowed you to stack, just like the Devil May Cry games, the taunt onto the style points is a nice little touch. As an enjoyer of that franchise,
Things are all right now, but Shaolin needs to be careful. It's a 3v2. Fu's hit, they can fall. And Sidon might have overextended. They will be able to get the kill onto Corgi, but Shaolin goes one way, Sidon goes the other. Ripped is there too, and he chose wrong. As Sidon needs to try and run. Fuyu moving forward. Gasapina and Zimba are there too. But they're not going to be able to catch onto it. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Akers could be in trouble. Chris is here. Denden's here as well. The depth charge is available. Chris is trying to stack stylishly and gets the ultimate away. But Akers is doing so much damage. He's got the ultimate available. But where is the stun? There it is. Chris needs to be a little bit careful, but will secure the kill with the help of the support. It's 1-for-1 trade across the map.
Yeah, 1-for-1 trade. You can see, though, Akers very, very strong, right? Is capable of putting out quite a lot of damage. But again, to get into range, you have to also suffer the damage that is available to Domino. And right now, the damage that is available to Domino is absolutely huge. Shaolin just picked up a Shadow Flame 20 minutes into the game. That's a really scary Victor. And Chris, like you said, with that Collector, against very low armor targets in the carries, is going to do so much. We've already seen what he could do to Akers, and is actually going to go for the Lord Dom's third. That means he will shred through those tanks once he has that item completion as well. 25 seconds on the Cloud Dragon. Cloud Soul and Rift, it's not one we've really spoken about too much, but actually an ultimate in my head, which is going to be pretty impactful for both these teams in one way or another. And of course, we have that special interaction for Udit, where the global cooldowns are a little bit shorter for his abilities too. But for Fuyu, even for Akers for the kiting, and on the opposite side, Chris, Shaolin as well, weaving in and out. Those ultimates will be very, very useful to have that Cloud Soul stacked on.
So we're just going to clear out this mid wave as Domino going to start themselves up the Dragon. It will be their second of the game, as you mentioned, as we've just talked through. So don't be holding out breath for the Soul in the near future. It looks like Lucent just going to use this time. They're going to seed the Dragon. They're going to move up and try and get some control around the Baron, including taking the Scuttle and clearing out some vision. Because Baron could be pretty impactful with two teams that aren't necessarily going to be the best at forcing fights where both teams haven't bought in a little bit. You know, just shove through and push in, especially against the poke composition, like the one that Lucent's got with their range. You want to be able to have those bigger minions in front that are a little bit harder to clear out.
Yeah, I mean, Lucent's comp, it's a bit hard to call it like an outright poke comp. Obviously, yeah, it's like Corki. You're working off the range of Corki, and then maybe you can advance forward. But more times than not, you're maybe actively looking for Domino to try and come into you. You're trying to bait them in, make them a little bit desperate if they eat too much Corki poke. And then, like we've seen from Fuyu quite a few times now this game, on the chase down, just try and gun them down with all the zaps. See what you can get done. For now, though, I will say impressive Domino's proactivity this game. I think it's been a sore point that's been lacking in their gameplay the last couple of weeks. But here, against Lucent, something they very clearly worked on. And they're looking at least a little bit better for now. Lucent still in a position where I think it's very playable. I think with the Corki, of course, we saw a lot less Corki once the package got nerfed. The respawn. But the issue is the damage didn't. So this champion is still Corki in terms of damage. It's just the priority in terms of always being able to contest Herald, first Herald in particular. Just means that it dropped off a little bit in whether or not teams like to pick it up super frequently. As they will steal away this blue buff. Sidon won't quite get in range here, but now there's loads of pings coming down. They want to try and will be dissuaded.
Catch anyone for you. Scamper away back into the jungle to meet up with the rest of his team as well. Meanwhile, in the bot side, we got Ripped versus Akers, both of them with teleports. Of course, Ripped has the ultimate to stand united, so he's going to be able to teleport twice. One onto a champion, one onto another teleport target. And for now, a little bit of a lull in the game. It was a slow to start, then we had some action, and now Domino are brute forcing the Baron.
I guess. I mean, it seems like Lucent are fairly aware this is going on. Red Ward comes down.
hanging around. Denden's in trouble, actually. Might get stunned up. They're going to have to stop the Baron to turn towards their Nautilus. He's going to be able to get one on his own to Caspino, who needs to be a little bit careful. Can't get over the wall. And actually goes down.
Wait.
Now they're going to be trying to get onto Fuyu. The ultimate comes down from Chris, but will it be enough? He's going to get stunned up, survives for a second longer.
Chasing into chokes.
By Syntax on the side. Fuyu looks for side and will be able to secure it. Domino are routed. They pick up one. They pick up two, but will they be able to get away before losing more? Denden goes solo. Fuyu on the side. The damage is the end of the line for the Nautilus as Ripped manages to stumble out. It's Lucent with 3 kills, Domino with 2, Baron still alive.
This is a classic case study of not chasing into chokes against AoE damage. Fuyu was absolutely unleashed in that fight. It was so difficult for somebody to get on top of him, lock him down. This Baron is pretty audacious. I think that's going to be a call away.
Teleport coming in though. Ripped might actually be caught out.
Package
From Syntax.
Yeah, he's alone. Doesn't seem like Syntax knows that though. Just go for the safer option. So now Package is actually off sync with this dragon. It's going to be on cooldown. So that's actually pretty nice feeling for Domino there. Lucent, little eager maybe to continue that run of play. But that's just why you can't chase into chokes like that against champions like Zeri. The Chain Lightning, the Hydra procs as well. But now with this Herald in pocket, or rather this Package, they want to start this up. And I mean, Domino, it's going to be a tough contest.
Yeah, it's not going down particularly fast, though. It's going to start being exposed.
Fuyu.
There's a lot of damage on the backline. Syntax using that ultimate. They need to be careful. Chris dives back through, gets damaged, but no kills. Domino managed to rip up the backline, though, as the ultimate comes on through. Nice knock up onto Syntax. Can they get more? He flashes over the wall as they will chase forward. This is deja vu, but in reverse, as Domino chase Lucent away from the objective. But this time around, we've got a dragon up in 40. Chris and Denden are down. So are Fuyu and Zimba. Syntax is moving back towards the Baron. He's going to be caught out on a ward. Will someone be able to find him? Rich moving forward, but they've got the Rift Tail speed.
Crab speed.
He's out.
Yeah, calculated. Didn't almost die for a control ward. Nope, never Syntax. That could never be the mid laner. And honestly, both these teams just like dogs to a ball for the backline of either side. For Denden, finding that dredge line onto Fuyu was huge, and the follow-up that ensued was absolutely massive as well. Just changed his seat. I don't think Fuyu actually got to move once he was found out by the hook of Domino support. Yeah. Now Ripped. Gonna be a bit of a nuisance, but there's no Valkyrie available. So the chase down will be there. Caspino.
Side on. Actually, the damage coming through from Fuyu is massive on the side. Then gets onto Akers and Crits follows through. Can they get the kill onto the Graves? Yes, they can. It's a shutdown for Samira as Fuyu dives over the wall. Domino get the kill. There was no pick from Lucent. So Dragon goes to blue side.
Oh, Dragon will go to blue side. They find Akers in the mid lane. Syntax still on the top side. And now Domino maybe looking towards a Baron top side pick. They're pinging the Corki. They'll get the mid lane wave. Or the choice be. Akers doesn't have teleport. You could definitely force a numbers advantage. Baron scenario here. No package either for Syntax. And Syntax hasn't based since that first Baron. So probably has a little bit of gold in his inventory. This is a pretty nice take up here for Domino potentially.
He's running around the side, ultimate used by Denden. He managed to get it onto Fuyu. He goes to half health, but now the North. Look at the magic resistance is being ripped apart by Baron. Domino have to back away, and Casabina running at the speed of sound. Doesn't go for the chase this time, but again, okay guys, I said this. I've been saying this before. Can we talk about Baron control? Because both these teams, you need to stop.
Yeah, it seems like neither team quite capable of starting up and finishing a Baron at the moment. And I think most of that just comes in part to how much AoE damage there is from either side. Poke access as well. More to Lucent than to Domino, but, you know, definitely avenues that Domino can use. Just feels very, very hard for either team to lock in a Baron as gold. I don't ask you the well. We'll talk about it. It's still the same story though. Chris up several thousand gold mid lane. Shaolin has garnered a bit of a lead for himself. Top lane as well. Akers still stays ahead of Ripped, but it's a lead that has come to become pretty unimportant, to be honest. Akers hasn't been able to find much. As Domino, they started up the Baron again. I mean, I've seen this song and dance. The only issue is Syntax is a little whiles away, so the poke isn't here this time.
Yeah, this time around, the Baron's going to go lower. Denden, Ripped just trying to be bouncer, but now Domino are going to peel away, but they've got health bars that are half. As Domino has to ult to safety. And now he's going to need to run. Shaolin moving forward, gets a lot on Fuyu, but now he's in the danger zone. Denden gets the ultimate onto Udyr, but Zimba's going to cut off any chase. Sidon's just too low to continue this fight. And once again, the team that starts Baron are forced to back away from it. Casapina, don't you dare.
God, it is such a game of cat and mouse, this game, because no team seems to have enough lockdown. To be honest with you, they're just playing with each other. Straight up, cannot find a target to actually murder. Shaolin did blow his flash, though, that time in that exchange. So did Caspina, but Shaolin not having flashed a much bigger deal and doesn't have stopwatch. Does, however, have an entire death cap in his inventory. So if he's able to find Fuyu, or even Akers to that measure, he will definitely close to 100 to 0 them with a full combo in the midst of CC. But he's going to have to play quite far back now. Without that flash available, he's a very vulnerable target. No phase rush. Took the area for the laning phase. As Syntax will clear out this top wave. I was kind of trying to judge whether or not he was maybe out of position being on that side of the map with so many Domino members in the river, but he was okay. As this game, I mean, to reiterate the stakes, it's been 30 minutes since we spoke about them. Whoever wins this game, going into the final day of games, the split, they're going to be so much more comfortable when it comes to making it into playoffs. You lose this, you drop into the mix-up. And actually just said in my ear, as I believe the 40 sheet continues to be filled in, whoever wins this guarantees at the very least a tiebreaker. So I believe winning this
looks pretty good.
Yeah, it keeps fate in your hands. Sidon trying to run down the other bear in the game. Won't find it.
I mean, Casapina's not actually fair. He's a cosplayer. But actually, Akers going to be the one put out with the stun. Managed to get the ultimate onto Fuyu once again. He's far enough away to not to be engaged on. But now they're looking for targets. They fight Casapina and they'll take him down. Fuyu's going to put in on average. But Denden finds him on the side. I'm ripping through. Denden goes down. Now members of Domino have to retreat. Chris goes low, but will be able to survive through the poke. For now, it's a 1-for-1 exchange as things stand as Domino move back down.
Yeah, but it's jungler lost for now. But fortunately for Lucent, this dragon isn't spawning for another 50 seconds, so we're gonna probably just get another full-blown reset. Then dies, tries to lock down Fuyu, dies for it, but he gets Fuyu's flash, and that could be so crucial for the next fight. If he just presses R key on Fuyu, if he ever gets in range to do that, and the follow-up is there from anybody else, it's gonna be absolutely devastating. As what was that production? Am I one more time? Chris also flashed. Thank you. Yeah, that is the other thing. Chris had to use his flash in that fight, so gonna have to position a little more moderately. Yeah, exactly. As packages here for Lucent, and that's a pretty big advantage. Domino maybe reading this, trying to move over to the Baron. They're like, well, it's only one more Cloud Dragon. How much does it really matter? Do we want to fight into a package? Yeah.
Good utilization from Syntax, though, because he's saying, look, I'm going to hold this package. We're going to get the dragon. We're setting ourselves up for stall points. And the next dragon is going to guarantee that one of these teams will take it. Chris in the face, half helped by the big one. And Syntax, this is the poke that we've been talking about from the outset of this game. He's able to do so much work. Chris, of course, will have a bit of lifesteal, so should be able to get back up to a decent health bar before moving forward. And now the dragon's gone. Whoop-de-doo. Everyone gets to move back towards the Baron.
And we've seen how those Baron dances are going this game, so all I'm saying is we'll keep your voice warm, because
well, I'm going to have to, aren't I?
I'm expecting Domino are going to start this one up pretty soon, or they're going to find a pick onto Zimba.
Zimba, and he's gone. And this time around, Lucent don't even get any return damage. So now Domino move back towards the Baron, but it's just the Braum that he managed to secure. Denden's sitting in the pixel brush. He's going to want to make a catch if he can. Casapina moving forward, but he's going to found out. He's going to be taken low. He needs to be careful. The ultimate will land onto Fuyu from Nautilus. Aside on moves on forward, will be able to get onto him as well, but might have overextended. Needs to back away. The damage comes down, and volley bear falls. No jungler for Domino, but they will be able to find the one from Lucent, and now Akers is the target. Chris gets the ultimate. He picks up so many kills as he gets the run down. Fuyu survives all the lockup, but he can't say the same for the rest of his team.
No, and Domino, they've got a wave here to work with. It's not particularly the largest one, and with no jungler, they might not feel confident to go towards the Baron for now. They should get the inhibitor at the very least. Will they go for more? Domino, I think, just be sensible. Even though you've got another wave coming in, take the inhibitor, reset. try and get back out on the map and secure control of Baron yet again. Lucent losing out in this skirmish this time around. Zimba gets caught out, and now they can actually... Oh, I don't know about this.
Ripped, no!
I mean, Caspina's still dead for quite a while. Syntax is going to have teleport available. I think this Baron is actually relatively safe.
Zimmer and Fuyu are moving towards
It's safe,
it.
it's safe.
You say that, but they're going for a little bit damage. Ooh, Rip secures it. Domino, you didn't have a jungler there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so spooky, man. It's spooky.
Baron on 5, but I want to stress that I'm not happy about it.
Could you imagine? It's like yesterday when we saw... Can't remember who it was. Was it Fatijan? Almost steal away the Baron on 6 HP with the Jin.
Deadly Flourish, yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very close.
I'm saying these teams, especially Division 2 teams, are giving me grey hair. It's just, I don't know, how many times did these two teams start out the Baron before the first one of the game was secured at 34 minutes? How many times did they start up in the 14 minutes preceding that?
Too many times. Will probably be the answer.
It is. It is too many times. But now they've got Baron on 5. What do Domino want to achieve?
I mean, I think for now, this top tier 1 definitely has to go. But at the very least, the inners on the sides. It's a 35-minute Baron, so expectations are not too high, but they do have that mid lane inhibitor to work off with the pressure. And they're making pretty good time right here if they take down this tier 2 on the bottom side, so they could look for an inhibitor tower, crack open the base on the bottom side. At the very bare minimum, Lucent, the wave clear is okay, but it's not really the best. It's mostly coming from Corki. And Shaolin is really doing a good job with some of the zoning that he can bring to the team here. Force some of the short members of Lucent to stand back or eat his damage.
And Domino just going to keep the pressure up in this bot side. Of course, Syntax is there. Decent amount of damage onto Chris, who's going to have to get that lifesteal going before the team fight next kicks off. He's on top side. Rip is creating pressure. Akers is having to be up their side on moving on forward, but they just want to take down this tower, and they'll be able to do so very easily as the inhibitor will be the focus. They'll be able to grab this and again smartly back away. They know that they've got to help Shen on the top side, but the inhibitor bot is down. The inhibitor mid is down. The base from Lucent is crumbling.
Yeah, it is. Lucent. Much of the mid to early game state was going okay for them, to be honest with you, but in these later game stages, where they're team fighting outright, it's just not going okay. Unfortunately, it's not going their way. Domino have just been a touch better. Just that little bit step ahead of them. When it comes to locking down a carry, or just finding a pick before the fight. Lucent, they need to play a little more disciplined. Right before some of those fights is, I mean, speaking of needing discipline, 20 seconds, that Cloud Soul is up. Do you want to give it up? It's just a Cloud. It's not the most, dare I say, impactful, but it's a soul that you don't necessarily want to give the extra combat stats over. And it also forces the Elder to spawn up, but you've also got to deal with 2 supered up waves and a stacked on the bottom side. If you lose this team fight, and you lose it heavily enough, Domino will end through the bottom lane.
Eva, what are you doing? You get blown up. Absolute madness from Lucent's new jungler as Domino can move forward. Chris needs to be a bit careful though. Takes 2 to the face, but the passive will pop. Moving towards Zimmer. There's enough damage there. Another ult moved into Chris, and more damage comes through. It's a domination from Samira. We said it in Champ Select. Chris would put on a clinic, and that's exactly what they've done. They're moving on forward, trying to catch more, but we find their attention to the Nexus towers. Fuyu's there, but gets hit by the depth charge as the second Nexus tower might be the focus, but Syntax is on the backline, shuts down Shaolin. Chris needs to be careful as Den goes golden. Samira is resurrected on the backline. Syntax does so much damage. The ultimate comes on through the point blank. Stand united as Rip moves towards Fuyu. Chris deciding what to do, takes out the Nexus tower, looks towards the Nexus, but the missile gets him as Syntax picks up another. Fuyu chasing Rip. Can he get onto him? He's speedy, he's skating towards the Shen, but he will be able to stumble away. But now Sidon's in trouble. He gets taken out. Lucent, they've got a bit of time. What can they get?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's just the soul, Viper, and I don't think they can get much more. I think they'll get the soul. They can maybe get this mid lane tier 2 as well. It's 34 seconds on Chris. How much do you care about Shaolin? I mean, I think they can get the inhibitor. I think they deal enough damage. It's 280 carries here. Yeah, they're going to shred through this. with more than app time. Oh boy, the inhibitor. Yeah, I think that's the bare minimum. But Shaolin's here with teleport, so if they try and go forward and lockdown comes in, Shaolin teleports behind somebody and it just looks a bit dirty. So I think Lucent make the right call. They back away, but their Nexus is bare. And oh my goodness, Caspina almost makes a game-losing decision to face check the river. Maybe not the way you'd want to open up your debut.
Probably
the
not.
game is still alive.
But I don't know how. And
I don't know how.
we've got Baron in 45 seconds. And we know what these two teams do at Baron.
It's never ending, man. It's never ending. It's never ending.
Okay, so let's have another look at this. Let's break this down because things look great.
What does thank you Reed for highlighting how little. No, he saw them all walk into the bush. You can't. It's
a crime. Straight to jail.
It's an unforgivable misstep, to be honest with you. And it almost cost Lucent the game. Fortunately, they're able to hold out 3 versus 5. It's all about the carries here for Lucent. Death Charge forces Fuyu back, but look at this package. It forces 3 members back, and Shaolin, I think, just gets deleted. Yeah, just removed by the Corki damage. Chris as well eating up a lot of damage. Fuyu able to assassinate and put him into the G8. On the top side, Den also falls. This Standing United shield is absolutely massive. Almost deletes Fuyu too. Chris does due diligence and picks up that Nexus tower. Zimba comes back, or Syntax comes back. But we're going to have to come out of the replay because, okay.
That's big. That's half health on the Victor. I don't know how able he's going to be able to get that back, but needs to be careful. Has teleport available if he needs to go for the quick reset. But Baron is on the map. Members of Lucent are moving towards it. They've got a little bit of vision around the area. Casapina's running forward, but it looks like Lucent are just going to try and get a bit more vision and back away. They know that their Nexus is bare. They know that they've got one inhibitor down. Yes, it's going to be respawning soon, but Lucent have started.
Where Domino? Where Domino?
Where's
Domino? Domino in the base.
Members reach there, and now Lucent should be able to pick this one up. Shaolin is there, Chris is there, but they don't even know this is happening. Chris needs to be so careful as Baron's secured. They lose it.
I don't get what's happening. Why did Domino base there? They didn't have vision of the Baron. Why? I'm having a bit of a breakdown, Will. I don't know what I'm seeing. Okay,
why would you replay that?
No. It's a good thing to replay because can we see what do Domino see? What do they see? So they see them walk away, and I guess that's just false confidence. And
they see it started.
No. This is a bugged vision. Bugged vision. They can't see it. That's just spectator being weird. So
right.
It doesn't make sense. What's happening?
I've got enemy base. Chris was targeted. He's got a massive shield from the Stand United, but they won't be able to catch Syntax. The Corgi is playing a little bit too safe as Domino are going to be forced back to South Fountain to reset. Members of Domino need to put the stand in. They've got a bit of a minion wave here. Shaolin needs to be careful. He gets blown up. This could be Curtains as Food tries to get some damage on the tower. Sidon is needing to be careful. They managed to catch on the Zimba. Big priority as Chris needs to step back from Casapina, who moves forward, but he might have overextended a little bit. Sidon's really low as they look to get more. The depth charge was already used onto Fuyu, but he's able to dance away. They'll get some damage onto the Nexus tower, but that's all they'll get.
They're not gonna get anything more. I have no idea what's going on. It's a fiesta, baby, Lucent. They have the soul, they have the Baron, but they're not gonna get too much more than what they just achieved. Looking like they're just gonna go for a reset. That is one fast Udyr.
He just clicked on the movement speed filter.
He pressed this movement speed button and he was zooming at like 800 movement speed. I love how I need this as comic relief for the game that I'm witnessing in front of myself right now.
We've got 2 games after this. This is the middle game.
Oh, this is a good one.
We only have to ask one question between both interviews, so one for each of the interviewees, and the question is just why? Why?
I hope we get Bloodsteel and Previous on the interviews.
Can we have them together? Is that an option?
Is that?
I'm not sit down with both
same interview.
But then fight Syntax. That could be big, but he's able to dance away. Food does so much damage as it's going to be the Nautilus. He gets the shield on, but he will go down. Akins picks up the kill. Watch Chris. The damage there is bigger. Caspina goes golden, and now Chris has to be really careful. Looking towards you there, but find him. Members of Domino are in full retreat now as the slide comes through. Chris needs to be careful. He's still alive for a second longer, but will he get ripped apart? That's a huge ultimate from Chris. What's going on? lucky. Who's gonna win? Syntax is package.
He's got package. He got 2v1.
And he's got Baron Buff as well. Can he defend the Bear Nexus? Can he defend the inhibitor? As Chris needs to be careful. He's moving forward. It's 2v1, but help us low. The stun is big. Chris does it. Can he get through? He's no! They're all dead. Has to kill Chris. What's going on?
Everyone's dead, and the inhib didn't even die, and the super minion should just about save it. Oh my god! The Elder spawns in 26 seconds. Well, we have to keep it together. Who the hell is spawning first? I think it's gonna be Lucent. Den's there. The supports are back out on the map first. Shaolin's gonna have a teleport. And so is Ripped. Caspina is running at Mach 9 to make it to the dragon in time. Syntax isn't gonna have teleport package. Akers has teleport. Zeri's here first. I think this is Lucent's Elder.
Oh, that could be huge. Den's hanging around. Ripped is here too. Shaolin's going to the mid lane to clear up minions, but now they've spotted it and they know that they've got members that need to commit. Chris is just not going to be there though as they get to move forward, but they managed to get the pick on Zimba. That's a lot of damage going on. Akers actually is the one they catch and they're going to resurrect him. But now the question is, what can Lucent get? The anchor goes wide, but the health bars are low. Zimba's dead, but he managed to pick up one, and now Ripped needs to step back. It's support for support, but members are coming on through now. Sidon is there. Chris needs to run, but it looks like Lucent, they don't have the stones to keep going with this dragon. They need to back away as Chris is going to clear out the minions moving into his base, but now Akers is moving forward. He needs to be careful. Shaolin's doing a lot of damage now as Victor lays down the laser. Lucent are still coming members. Syntax is there, Fuyu's there. Remember, no package. That could be massive as Sidon and Shaolin are just showing their faces, making sure that this isn't taken. Sidon needs to be really careful because he's just not that tanky anymore as Chris has finally arrived. Domino moving forward. They want to keep control of this dragon area, but Lucent, they're gonna just make sure that their faces are shown. Syntax over the wall. Can they find Ripped? There's a little bit of poke, but it's not too bad as Chris is in the mid lane. Maybe this is the time for pounce for one of these two teams, but Domino needs to be super careful. Chris is exposed and Udin knows moving towards him, but can't quite find him as Domino take up possession of the dragon. Can they scurs though? Pat Caspina, he's the fastest man alive and he's moving forward. Manages to get nothing because Rip puts up this thing, but there's not going to be enough time. He gets into the back line, but takes a lot of damage, has to back away. Ripped is in the same position as Syntax moves forward, gets the snipe, but it's not the kill. Shaolin's also running. The dragon is still being done. All secure. Sidon goes low. Will they be able to get it? Akers going to be knocked up. It's taken by Lucent. The fight might go their way. Chris is still alive though. He's going to resurrect. Denton has to run. Surely this has to be it as Lucent takes down Tamira. I think they've done it just about. Lucent take the fight. Lucent take the Elder. Lucent should take the game.
Don't look to me for an endgame call. I don't know what just happened for the last 7 minutes. Lucent, they find the Elder fight. Then Sidon and Caspina, they both die, and it's a complete coin flip. And it's Lucent that win out. They're gonna take down the Nexus towers. They're gonna take down the Nexus. Lucent, they're gonna put themselves in a better position for the final day of games. But I just...
Break now. We'll see you in a minute.